So, I just started recording the stream to make it a VOD. When I was in, not college, but, yeah, I think it was my first year of college. We started getting this one regular customer, and she was this short, plump black lady, and honestly, she is an angel. She's one of the sweetest customers I have. She buys about a cart full of stuff every time she comes in. I'm pretty sure she this is a thrift store, so she like buys it and resells it online for more money. And she always buys like 3 carts full of stuff, and in order to make that process go swiftly, what we've agreed on is that I will ring her up and she will simply see, I have a little spinny thing that I use, and I will simply give her the items as I ring them up, and then she will put them in her cart, she will, fold them and put them in a bag for herself, because she has a very particular way she likes things folded, and I cannot fold things that way. So it's more efficient for us to do it this way. Her husband came in one day, and her husband is the most horrid man I've ever had the displeasure of interacting with. Like, a lady called the cops on me once, and I detest this man more than that lady. The first thing he ever said to me was, why was I not helping his wife fold his clothes while he was standing there doing nothing to assist his wife? And then I was like, oh, I can fold the clothes, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. And then I went to start folding the clothes, and and it was taking a long time, and he noticed that his wife was just refolding whatever I folded, because as I said, she does not like the way I fold things. So he said that you're folding them wrong and you should fold them all again. So so what I did was I just folded the same piece of clothing over and over, and then 15 minutes went past, and he got really mad that this was taking so long, because when he is not here, this never takes so long. And he was like, fine, you don't have to fold your clothes. And he was incredibly unpleasant to me, and then every time after that, he finds a reason to scream at me. And you would think that might be an exaggeration, but he once screamed at me. This is, I don't think I like the way this is getting all wavy. Huh, I'll just repeat it. That's the best thing about crochet for me. If I don't like the way something is turning out, I can just hit the undo button, completely redo it. It's kind of a beautiful process of creation to me. I'm sure that's not a new perspective, like, oh, it's creation, but... So anyway, what this guy did was he, one day, like, I was not in a good place this day. I think I had just started my time of the month. I was feeling sick. I just didn't want to get screamed at on top of everything else. So when I saw him, he was at the front of the line, and there was a big line. It was such a long line that my manager was actually here ringing, and she also had a very long customer, and they were the next ones up, and they, as usual, had multiple carts, and he already looked mad, and I did not want to engage with him, so I pretended that my cart was that my register was not working. It was broken, it kept asking me for a pickup, and there wasn't enough money to do a pickup, and so I restarted the register, which took just to happen to take just long enough that, my manager called him and his wife over, and then I was able to take the next customer. He did not like this because he doesn't like anything, because he's one of the worst people on earth. He walked over to my register, ignoring the fact that I had a customer, and ignoring, his poor wife, who he hates when she has to do work on her own, obviously. He walked over to my register so he could scream in my face, "What, do you have a problem with me?" And then I looked at him and I'm like, sir, you're being incredibly rude to my customer. My customer who was here before you. And he just about blew a gasket. And I was like, I don't get paid enough for this shit. He kept screaming at me until my manager came over and told him to stop yelling at my cashier and come back to where his wife was being rung up. And God, like, this was the first customer I've ever had where I was like, I don't understand why anyone would have chosen to spend time with you. Not even, like, marry you. Like, how do you have a job that makes money? Because I've never met anyone this unpleasant before. But, retail is also fun because I work in a thrift store, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but the busiest time of the year for a thrift store is Halloween. And before COVID hit, they used to do these huge Halloween displays at my store, and they weren't old clothes, they were like brand new from our corporate offices. They weren't particularly like expensive or super nice, like most of them were 100% polyester. But, it was a full Halloween costume for $30. And that's like a really low price, So I would always ring people up, and they're like buying the Halloween costume, and meanwhile bitching about how expensive the Halloween costumes are, and we're overcharging for them. And at the time, I had never gone to one of these stores, so I find my reaction in hindsight to be much funnier than it was at the time. The response in hindsight is, the response that I would always give was, oh, well, there's a Spirit Halloween store right down the street. Which there was a Spirit Halloween store right there. At that time, I had never gone to a Spirit Halloween store, like, in my life. But, oh, that's really nice. You see this line coming up right here of, it's dark blue and then the red right in between? That's actually a really nice pattern that's forming. But anyway, like, Spirit Halloween store costumes are about the same quality as what we gave, but also 3 times as expensive. So customers would get offended at me, and I would be like, I don't understand why you're mad at me. But of course, that's a normal feeling for me. Another normal feeling at retail is that people are too fucking close to me all the time. I don't know if I'm like a germaphobe or, you know, people are just always touching me and I hate it. Customers will do this thing where they press their breasts against my back in order to reach over my shoulder to shop right where I'm shopping. They don't ask me to move or warn me in advance. It's just suddenly there are breasts pressed up against my back. And like, I wonder if they'd still do that if I was a guy. Or if I had a shirt that was like, I fucking love tits. You think if they thought I was into them pressing their disgusting breasts against my back unprompted, they would stop doing that? Because I think they might. Usually customers are really good, though. It's a really interesting place. Since it's a thrift store, I actually find a lot of really good finds. I got this leather jacket that was like from Wilson's Leather and still had the tag on it, and with the store discount with the store price plus my discount, I paid $24 for that $260 jacket. I also get a lot of crochet supplies there. I get a lot of, yarn. There's an entire section where people have donated yarn. And sometimes I get like crochet hooks or little bobbins. And I think they're all pretty fun. That's what I'm looking for most when I'm getting crochet supplies. Not whether or not they're really useful, but how much fun am I going to be having with these supplies? This was a slip stitch I was supposed to do. See? It's getting pretty big already. Because frankly, I can forgive basically anything if it's enough fun. Like, I got some loop yarn, and it was really cool because I actually gave someone a gift, and it was just a blanket that I made out of the loop yarn. Frankly, I get what everyone's saying about how gimmicky loop yarn is, but again, and I totally agree, it's incredibly gimmicky. It is also really fun in a childish way, where it's just one of those things where you're doing this repetitive motion over and over, and you don't even have to think about it. You just have to check every once in a while, hey, is it the size I want? Nope. Okay, back to doing the same thing over and over. And you can see that I really like simple, repetitive patterns. I have made some really cool stuff. If you guys ever want to see, just let me know. Because I've been thinking of working on some interesting crochet patterns. One of them that I want to do is like family crests for video game characters. Stuff like that. Like, I made a crest blanket. If you guys ever want to see that, I'll bring it out and show you. It's if you ever played Fire Emblem Three Houses, it's the crest of Blaythed. I made it with corner to corner, and frankly, I don't think I'm that much of a fan of corner to corner crochet. At the time I really was, but I tried to start a new blanket in corner to corner, and immediately my mood was, I'm bored of this. I'm bored of this technique already. A stitch that I don't think I can ever get bored of is the linen stitch, or sometimes they call it the moss stitch. I actually started doing, if you follow TL Yarn Crafts, she has a tutorial for how to do a linen square temperature blanket. So I actually started to do that one. And honestly, the linen stitch is one of my favorite stitches. I could do it forever. And the way it changes color is beautiful. But I'm really into pixel art and those type of, graph GANs. I'm thinking that I'll one day start a project where I use my crochet thread. I have a lot of white and colored crochet thread, so my goal would be to create maybe some of the Pokemon, the pixel art 32 by 32 versions of those Pokemon. I'll probably use the black and white versions of the sprites, and instead of it being black and white, I'll use whichever color fits it best, because I had this really good haul from my job of hundreds of dollars worth of crochet thread a while back, and I haven't touched it yet. I just got a good sized needle for doing thread crochet, but I also have all this blanket yarn, and I really want to do some stash busting for blanket yarn before I start something new. Because for me, it's always, I have all this pretty yarn, and I want to treat it all well and use it, because then I'll feel bad that I don't have the space, and I'd have to get rid of some of my pretty yarn because I want to bring in the new pretty yarn, but I don't want to just get rid of my yarn, it ruins the fun. My art is meant to be fun. It's here. It was a very bad stitch. For future projects, if you're gonna keep watching and want to know what I want to keep up to date, after I use up all this blanket yarn, the thick jumbo Bernat blanket yarn, I have a bunch of this in a bunch of different colors, so I'm just using it all up. I got some really nice knit crate yarn a month or so ago. it's in this blue and white colorway that is very delicate. It's mostly merino wool and a little bit of alpaca. And I'm going to use that to create the Octavanel scarf from Twisted Wonderland, the big scarf that Azul wears. So stay tuned for that, I guess. I'm also going to show you all the temperature blanket I'm working on and continue that. I've been taking a little bit of a break from it because I've been so stressed out. And I feel like if you do a project while you're stressed, that stress stays in the project. So it's just a superstition I have. So what I do is I make little projects like this and give it to other people, because I believe when you give it to other people, the love in it will shine through and counteract all that. Well, if you keep it, you're just keeping that stress. So that project is one that I'm keeping, so I only do it when I'm in like a good, happy mood. Crochet itself also puts me in a good, happy mood. I've been in a bad mood recently because of I just recently got my master's degree, and it's in a tech field, and I don't know if you've heard, but the tech field's really bad right about now. They keep laying people off, and so there's a whole bunch of jobs open, and there's just me, who doesn't have any experience in any of this stuff, applying to 100 jobs, and the ones I get are terrible, and the ones I don't get are all the ones that I'm actually interested in. And then when I'm not job hunting, I'm working retail, which itself stresses me out. So a lot of the reason I decided to start doing these streams is because I don't really put the time to crochet on my to-do list, because it feels like too self-indulgent, you know? Like, this is a thing that's not going to advance my career or help me out or fix my money problems. But it's what I like to do. And when I go too long without doing the stuff I like to do, it doesn't help. It makes me feel worse, which makes me do worse. And I know that intellectually, but I still always, there are times when I'm so tired that I don't want to do the things I like to do. And then when I have the energy to do the things I like to do, my brain goes, oh, you're wasting time. You have the energy right now, you could be working. So it's just good to set aside that important time for yourself. And if I could give any evidence to anyone, that would be it. This is how far it is right now. I just ran out of this ball of this color, so I think I'm going to do a color change. Let me see what I got in the bin. Don't know if you could see, but I have a bin right here with all my yarn. Well, not all my yarn. Some of it is actually under my bed. There's a drawer, but this is the colorway I was talking about by Octavanel. This is going to be so fun to work with. gonna switch to this color. For now, at least. I have several of this color, but I think it would be prettier if I did a patchwork where I change colors every time I have to do a color change, rather than keeping it all one color and then suddenly doing another color for the rest of the art piece. It kind of reveals that rather than this being a pattern, I just ran out and didn't get any more. Now I like to weave, I like to crochet over my ends. I know there's a lot of advice about weaving them in, but sometimes I just like to crochet over them. I do feel the need to fill the airwaves with some noise, so I'm gonna talk about high school then. So back when I found this post online recently which was talking about how because I was fake axed out as a kid, I now don't trust anyone who tells me I was pretty, because I feel like they're trying to manipulate me. And I have a funny story about that. I was, in fact, asked out as a joke once. And the joke ended up being on the guy who asked me out, because I have social issues. They're not, like, major, but I don't really understand when someone is trying to punk me, because I really don't like how this change came about. But what I was saying is I don't understand when, I don't really get when people are trying to make fun of me, because I am not good at understanding the intentions of others. So this guy did in fact try to ask me out as a goof to make fun of me, but I was not attracted to him. And this didn't occur to me that this was a ploy. So I really gently let him down. I said, "Oh, that's incredibly sweet of you, but I'm sorry, I genuinely don't see you that way. I'm sure we could stay friends if you'd like." And then his friends, who were all watching, which I didn't see as weird at the time, I was like, oh, his friends are there to, encourage him. That's really cute. They immediately burst into laughter. And this might be a bit embarrassing, but at the time, I didn't even see that as a red flag. my immediate thought was, oh wow, this guy's friends suck. They laugh at him after he gets rejected. And I felt bad for him. And then I went to my best friend and told her what happened. And my best friend looked at me and she was like, they're probably making fun of you. And you know, finding that out sucks, but what are you gonna do about it, you know? If you didn't realize, I have a lot of artwork on my page. My banner, my icon, and my stream paused block, which is this. They're all actually made by my dad. He's a graphics artist. He said he's gonna start a Twitch, but he hasn't yet. But I'll make sure to send you over to him when he does, because my dad is absolutely amazing at what he does. Also, I found this article that was supposed to be like anti-Gen Z, and it's like, Gen Z overestimates how much they deserve to make. And I've gotten job offers for jobs that pay $40K a year that require me to have a master's degree in data science in order to apply. I found one that was like, you need a master's degree in data science for this, and do you want to know how much they were willing to pay me? The ad, if you read the top of it, it said, pay range, $0 to $0 per hour. But they wanted a full-time worker with a master's degree. It wasn't an internship either, it was a full job. But it was a contract work, and I guess the contract was nothing. It was really annoying because I had already filled out like 3 forms for this company, because that page is on the last page of the application process. I wonder why. But you know, it's little things like this that just like waste my time. And like, I'm not wasting other people's time, so it's really fucked up that people go around just wasting mine. And also, I get a lot of things that are like, ooh, do you want to sell insurance? I saw your ad on your resume on Monster, and I think you'd be perfect for selling insurance. And I'm like, what part of my skill set is an insurance salesman? So, if I could give all of you just a little bit of advice, my first piece of advice would be to never buy subpar yarn. Make sure you feel the texture before you work with it. I personally have texture issues, which lead it to certain textures I really hate, and certain textures are kind of annoying, but I can deal with them. But the thing is, crochet is like my love. It's like my love language. This is what I do when I'm happy. So, I've always felt, if I buy something and then I don't use it, what's the actual point? I'm just wasting money. I've started to break out of that cycle, and what I tell myself is, this is my hobby. Why would I want to suffer through it? Like, if you buy a bad video game and you can't return it, why you just don't have to play that video game. You lost some money, you could leave a bad review and complain, but at the end of the day, that's your choice. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, why wouldn't I want to enjoy my time crocheting? Why would it want to... Sometimes I find myself in the midst of a project, and suddenly I'm avoiding crochet because I'm not interested in that project, and as usual my brain is like, well, you don't want to do that, so just don't do anything. But you can just decide to do what you feel like doing. You don't have to... Oh my god, I just thought of something. What if I turn this into a little pillow? I can put stuffing in it, because it's not turning out like a rug, but I can make the cover apart and then put some stuffing in here, and it would be a perfect little pillow for her rather than a blankie. See, that's the thing about crochet to me. It's not so much that there are flaws, sometimes something doesn't work, and you can find inspiration in it. I was actually at work the other day, and I got really upset halfway through my shift because I saw this book with these really intricate designs on it, and I took a picture of the designs because I'm allowed to do that. It's not against the rules at work, and I just immediately started itching to start crocheting. Not even just the designs, but in general. I wanted to create, like, this is kind of embarrassing, but there's this My Little Pony song that goes like, oh, to create would give me elation, to find once again some inspiration. And that's how I feel sometimes. And then I have that inspiration, and it's never when I'm somewhere where I have the capacity to use it, which is always so stressful. See, now I'm starting to shrink it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a stitch in every 2 instead of every 1. And over time that will eventually make it shrink like a lot, because I'm making it half the size. Because you see, this is how it's turning out. Like a little bowl, and then I cover the top, and it will become a pillow. Well, of course, I'll need to stop halfway to get a bunch of stuffing. You see how it's being built up? I'm also thinking of another possible project would be the little charms that each character in Twisted Wonderland gets. Like like the little, on a loading screen, each character gets their own little card that's supposed to be who they are as a person. Because it's such a simple design, I could actually do that pretty well. I try not to do overly complicated designs just because personally I feel like I'm gonna get bored of them pretty easy, and also I'm worried because if I make if I have like such a big project and it turns out bad, I'm just gonna be mad at myself for wasting all that time when I could have been doing other things, which would discourage me from continuing to do crochet because that's how I am, and I really need to get better with that. But you know, sometimes you gotta call a spade, you know what I'm saying? I think I might do it like this for now, and then and just finish it, and then later, if necessary, I'll open it up and put stuffing in it. And here's the finished product. It's not that big and not that cool, but I don't know, I think it's pretty fun. And I think the dog's gonna think it's pretty fun too. This is for a dog. I'm not bothering to weave it in. That's... And I'll be right back. Everyone say hi to Tiana! Oh, isn't she so cute? Tiana, say hi to your friends! And look, Tiana, this is yours! You like it? Huh? She likes it. She just wants to get down. Okay, bye. Everyone have a nice night. Say bye, Tiana.